Hello everyone, Kenty Tiger here with Bengali Engineering and Play. We are back in The Last Caretaker. I think this is going to be our last episode. It'll probably be a short one because I've pretty much finished everything I thought we were going to accomplish. We've pretty much cleaned out everything on this platform. We've done our upgrades, even though that's probably not going to be necessary once the EA version comes out. As my standard spiel here, this is a demo version of The Last Caretaker. It will come out in early access release on the 6th of November, so that's about 7 days away from when I'm recording this. So hopefully it has garnered an awful lot of excitement for me and obviously a lot of other fans out there. So definitely I think it's a neat and promising game. I really am very excited about it. So, without further ado, we will get back to where we were kind of going. So I'm going to continue here. So I had forgotten to remove short power. That was my one thing. That's why there's an underway checklist. So we'll go back up here. We did not throw mooring lines across or anything like that. So let's head on out. So we're going to do a bit of trawling here, I think. We'll see how that goes. Alright, so let's bring this up to about 50% thrust. So what I discovered with trawling was I ran at about 33% thrust on just my electric engine. And it did extremely well. I didn't have any issues per se. I was charging well. You're going to see the whispers will start to function here once we get outside and clear the building. Kind of neat having a camera view. I'm not sure what all the pop-pops are. Maybe that's a storm running out there, not sure. Or it's graphics stuff, don't know. Alright, so we're out here a little ways. I'm going to go ahead and back it off. Let's back it off to 20% here. So we're heading straight out. That's not exactly where I want to do because we're going to test the trawling or demonstrate the trawling portion here. By way of, what is this? Not sure what that stuff is. Junk in the water. I don't know if my it might be biological stuff. All right, so neck dropped. By my previous calculations, I don't know if this will change. This has a 15 kilogram limit, which is I wish it had more. So you can see the turbines here are actually doing something now. You can see just a tiny bit of power here coming through. If we take a peek forward, so now we're far enough. Let's go ahead and get us turned on the right heading. So we're literally going to come out and head down. I believe that's the north side. Yeah, it should be the north side. So we've got the rudder hard over, which in this case is 90%. You can see there. So kind of interesting how that all works. All right, so there's the warning that which thankfully goes away. So we'll increase thrust because in this case our rudder is entirely thrust based. So usually it's prop wash across the rudders, unless you're some kind of a jet boat, which actually turns the thrust mechanism in the direction you want to go. So we're going to go down here the north side of this guy. Back down to 30%, give or take. We can continue on at northwest for just a second because I don't want to get right up against. Yeah, so 31, yeah, 31% is fine. So my goal is between 5 and 6 kilometers, which would be nice to express that in knots, which is appropriate around the world, but not going to quibble too much about that. We can understand kilometers per hour, especially with distances in kilometers, so not a big deal. So one of the things I want you to notice is, so we are maintaining 6 kilowatt hours in our battery. So we're doing very well. Put the rudder over once again and get on a west heading. And we'll just literally run down the side of the building here. We've got, I presume it's a circle around the complex, so some relative radius that you can stay within, and I'm just literally trawling a circle around the habitat here, the sanctuary, sorry. So really we're just kind of learning about where those limits are. But this is effectively as far as you can go. So you saw the warning come up. That's really, if you keep sailing, it will indeed end the game for you, end the session. I think it doesn't autosave there, so at least you kind of know about where you were. But you can always go back to the other save. The previous save, which I did right before we closed the last episode. So. On the plus side, because I am at 6 kilowatts here, nothing is really producing anything, so you can see just a little tiny bit of motion from the whispers. You can see the ones on the stern are doing the exact same thing. So while we're going slow here, I'm at 30%, 31%. We're going to go ahead and Not something you would normally ever want to do, abandon the pilot house while you're underway, but just so we can see. So we're not seeing anything produced out of the solars, but that's not necessarily weird from the perspective of we are indeed at power. So we don't have any more storage in our battery, which means there's no need to take in any more. So we have users, which happens to be my engine here. So you can see the engine functioning, which is kind of cool. The spark engine. So this one you see producing steam. I don't know what those are. This, when you've got the diesel going, you actually see flames coming out down here, which is never something you want to see. Although on a two-stroke diesel, you would see flames coming out like that. So anyway, let's check our box here. So 14.4, this is the maximum I've ever seen in here. So technically you have a 15 kilogram limit, but at 0.8 kilograms per scrap, then it's not surprising that we end up at 14.4. So here's a variety, which you see 8 different types of scrap. And as far as I have seen in the game, that is in fact the maximum numbers of scraps. So wire scraps, plastic scraps, metal scraps, aluminum scraps, copper scraps, fabric, rubber, and glass. So you literally have every form of scrap that is available, which is free for the taking by way of that. Put out the net, drive around. That's it. Okay, so we're gonna go back up to the pilot house here and do our turn to port on this side of the leg. So that's the first set of stuff. So we can see where we are. We're far enough away. I'm just gonna put the rudder over, and we're gonna turn southish. On this side of it, so not quite like being underway, but close enough. See, I'm curious. I think this is all biomatter that's in the water here. and it may be something because it is daytime. It may be something. So let me get going south, and then I'm going to stop the engines, and I'm going to dive in the water and see what those are, because I'm really curious. Because if that's all biomatter, that may be a great source for biomatter. All right. So 15 at, there's 0, so we are at all stop. I'm not going to put out anchors just because why? I don't really, need to want to anchor. Okay, so let's see what this is. This may be the most stupid thing I've ever done. I'm really curious as to what this thing is. No, these must be creatures or something, because they're going underwater. Nope, that was something. Huh. So inventory, I did pick up something. Organic seaweed, so something. Actually swim really fast. So there was some over here off the port bow. Was. Alright, back in the ship. So it looks like there is ready sources of biomaterial that is just readily available in the water. What was? They all disappeared. I don't know where they went. Alright, well, now we know. So, kind of neat stuff. So, this may be actually a good place that I can, dump this stuff while I'm trawling. Alright, oh, actually, I remember. So, they were talking about this in one of the videos. Can't remember which one it was that Jack had done, but basically if you swim a certain distance away from your boat, your engines will automatically go to idle and the anchors will auto drop. So that's kind of the safety thing, that if you fall off the ship, for example, fall off the boat, then your boat won't go away without you. Is the idea there, which makes perfect sense. So I was obviously far enough away from the boat, which I don't think it's a very big radius intentionally, which again does make sense. So spacebar, which will raise anchors. So you can see those anchors raising. So you can see the starboard bow anchor there. They're kind of funny when they come up. Remember, anchors are heavy, especially on a vessel that this is. I don't know what this class would be, 10,000 tons. Little shaking there. All right, so let's go back up to throttle 30. So I'm pointed south, and then we'll head to the other side of the sanctuary here, and then turn eastbound. So we'll do kind of the full loop. What I was doing just loops to test, and I really just wanted to see exactly how the trawling worked. So at 30-ish%, so so here's the reality: is you're trolling slow enough that power is not an issue at all, which means you can do this indefinitely. So really the amount of power you put down, which is to say the amount of throttles you put down, is really a time distance equation. So wherever you're trying to go, that becomes the factor in how long it takes you to get there. Obviously you're at a fixed place on the planet, and whatever it is you're going to is a fixed place at the planet, which means it's about the distance in between. That becomes the time distance equation. So how fast do you want to go? In this case, I'm at 30% on one engine, right? So I've only got the electric engine going. Why did I pick the electric engine? Because diesel right now is finite. I have no idea where I would get more diesel. This is, of course, presuming that, hey, I could drive away from here, which of course is not true in the demo, but you know, we're pretending we're playing a game, right? It's all pretend. So I have virtually infinite power, which means running the electric engine makes sense, because then I can go wherever I want on the electric engine and not have any perceptible powers at all. Obviously, like we talked about in one of the other episodes, you do not want to be at sea and suddenly find yourself without the ability to move. That would really suck on 100 different levels. So in this case, we have electric generation capability between the wind turbines and the solar, and of course we're not seeing anything because I'm at 6 kilowatt hours, which means, you know, it is what it is. So eventually what I would like to do, my plans for the early access, once early access is actually released, is, okay, I've got, why am I, there we go. I use multiple keyboards. So I have my main keyboard, which of course is just a normal, I guess they're 104 key or whatever they call them now. I also have a gaming keyboard, and it's a lit keyboard, so the lights were on, but no one was home. I don't know what happened there. So anyway, I pushed a few keys and wiggled the cable, and then suddenly it's working again. Keys are responding, because I was thinking I was actually turning, and I looked at my compass. No, I'm not turning. I looked at my rudder, and my rudder indicator said I was at 0. Whoops, it's not what I wanted. So one of my peeves, I guess, which isn't really a serious peeve, but it's more, and again, I'm biased. After having been, 27-ish years out of 30 on a ship, you kind of get the feel for how the ship works. Because, I mean, yeah, I'll go ahead and call it nautical physics. It is pretty much the same for every ship. Now, yes, you've got absolutely huge ships. For the U.S. Navy, for example, we have the carriers. That's almost 100,000 tons. When you get all the stuff on it, it is 100,000 tons, probably 100, 102, 104, depending on what the loadout is, which is really to say the Nimitz class. The Ford class is bigger, so I think that's like 110,000 tons dry. So you've got a lot of stuff there. But moving through the water ultimately is about moving the water around the bow and down the hull. So those physics never change. It doesn't matter how big it is, those physics are always the same. They put the same kind of stressors on the hull. So, one of those things. Okay, babble. So I would like to see some of those things. So being able to steer, yeah, in this case, you go hard over one way or hard over the other way. There's no in between. So you let off the key, it goes back to 0. So you're not really steering. You're going from one rudder stop to the other rudder stop with amidships in between. All right, let's run down, check our nets, which will long be filled. I wish this was a bit bigger. So you can see here we're at 14.4. I don't know how big is too big, how small is too small. So the fact that we're taking in, almost 15 kilograms at a time, that's really awesome. But it would be nice to do more. But I think I understand why the devs didn't do that, because, I mean, yes, it's infinite, but there's also a patience factor to it. You know, obviously they don't want you just, you know, skimming. Where does a convenience that is ultimately infinite become I mean, I hesitate to use the word because this is a single player game, but where does it get cheaty? Um, I don't know. Can you cheat at solitaire? Can you really? And I would have to say no, you can't. There is no gain or loss with cheating. And cheating in the real world, there is a loss for somebody and the gain for someone else, usually the one cheating. So cheating is a concept that only applies against other people being affected. Other people, other entities, whatever it is. But when it's a total sealed environmental bubble, which this is, I don't know if that can be cheating. Okay, so you just saw this this thing that showed up like a buoy out here. There's another one. These are another life form of bugs. So you saw the blue ones, which generated the sweethearts. These guys generate little dancing worms. They're pretty good size. So the idea is to be going fast enough, and I found 35%. Okay, so that one bust. So they're now coming over towards me. So we're gonna get lined up on north, and then we're gonna go out. All right, and I'm gonna pull out my my weapon here, and I'm also going to attach on because I can. All right, so what we're gonna do is connect on, and I'm going to connect to my pistol, pull out my pistol, and then I'm gonna go over here and ready to go. There. You actually get biomaterial from these guys. Apparently I'm just far enough away, it's not a problem. Kind of sucks. So here's some more back here. So unfortunately all this biomaterial is just water, and I don't have access to it. And it sucks. You can see it floating in the water there. So apparently it's just far enough away. Back here. The trick is I'm standing on the rail, I don't want to jump in. Down here we can see it, so I'm actually doing okay with it. So maybe you have to so it's hard to see the worms, unfortunately, because it's night, but those are the guys that in fact come out at night. So F, we're going to reel that up. So that was a fun evolution, but we also learned that there's a lot of stuff that went in the water, unfortunately, so I only got 5 of those, so all that effort for virtually nothing. Now, I don't know how much the net here may have caught an awful lot of that, because it was literally going down that side of the ship, so maybe it just went right straight into the answer is no. Take all. So we'll put that right back down. So that's what I have done, is just basically raised it, took the stuff out, put it back down. All right. So one of the things that was close. One of the things I need to do here is hard over rudder, because I'm getting a little ways away from the so that's the red guys, worms, so there's more worms coming towards the ship. Now, they ultimately, they will damage your hull. Now, it takes an awful lot of them, and you're going through the water, but if you are at anchor, what I have found, so you see that is technically sunrise. So here, interesting tidbit. This is Earth, or an alternate Earth. So the sun is that rising in the west, or does it set in the west? So I'm facing west. The sun is clearly rising. So it's kind of one of those interesting aspects that was part of the world to have been so catastrophic in destruction and damage that you ended up with the Earth somehow reversing rotation. So interesting. All right, so we're sailing west now on the it's the north side. Yeah, we're on the north side of the sanctuary. All right, so once again, so we're still at 100%. So all those little guys did not damage the hull in any way. What we can do is look over here. For whatever reason, I'm at 5% or 5 out of 6. Not sure. Oh, that's because I used an awful lot of power shooting those guys in the water. But you see, I am charging comfortably, very nicely. Still under power from my engine. Oh no, I'm at 0, so I'm not sure how that happened. All right, let's back up to 30%. Sure why that did that, but okay. All right, we go back over here. We're going to recheck our net. It's very likely that's well, it's 12 kg, but I'm down here, so probably 12.8. So we'll collect what's here, take all, we'll put it right back in the water. What I am going to do is go down here and turn on my recycler, and we're going to deposit all trash in there because we can, and then that's going to start doing what it does, and we see a significant draw here. So whenever you're using the recycler or the fabricator, you're going to pull quite a bit of power. So you see here we're at a negative 9 kilowatts, give or take, so jumping around quite a bit there. But so with all the power that's being generated, we're still in the negative, but that's because we're using these things. So one of those, you stop using it for a little while, charge back up, and you're all good to go. So remember, you do have 6 kilowatt hours there, so that's quite a bit, and we're barely down, 15% of it, which isn't bad at all. So we'll let that run for however long it wants to run. We'll get back up to the pilot house because that's what our responsibility is: drive the damn ship. Put the rudder over again. We'll turn south, and then I think what we'll do, we'll come all the way back around. So I will be on the west side of this, and so when we come back around to the east side, we'll actually stop, get reoriented, and go back to dock, and then we'll end the episode there, which really is going to end the series because there is literally nothing else to do in the demo, at least that I'm aware of. Now, you could do the discovery and find some of the secret hiding places and that sort of thing, because there are more than what I showed on this, just because I suck at maneuvering. The jumping off of ladders and turning sideways and doing a pirouette and all that sort of thing. I totally suck at that. And then I get frustrated because it's just not making any sense to me. Directional controls should be directional controls, not whatever the heck that is. So yeah, I just don't do very well with that kind of stuff. So there is actually quite a bit. I think there were 9 different places that you could investigate on this particular platform, which would ultimately lead you to extra memory things. So definitely worth the discovering if you're into that sort of thing. So by my calculations, it was every 4 minutes you would fill up the net. So for what that's worth. So we're going to go ahead and once again abandon here and go down. I don't think it's been quite 4 minutes, but 14.4, which again is the max I have ever seen in here. Pull in all my stuff, take all that net back in the ground, back in the water, come over here and dump, deposit all. I'm going to collect all of this just because. See, I don't understand. I'm pointing right at something that says loot silicon, loot all, hold, and then it just doesn't do it. Why does it? Rather than when I was a dock and I had the one that I couldn't get, and then I moved the ship and it was still sitting there in the water. Alright, so in this case we have 5 full over there, we have almost 6 over here, so let's go ahead and keep this balanced. We'll dump all this stuff over here. Alright, whoa, that was, I didn't want to do that. Transfer that back. I don't remember where I put the organics, might have been here. Yeah. So what I could actually do is consolidate these somewhere else, because I don't know that that's appropriate to put those there. Maybe I can put them there for now. Oh yeah, that's these things. Okay, yeah. So that's a perfect place for those. All right. So the reality is we're doing pretty good here. So we can see we're already back up to full charge. So it didn't take long at all, even running this guy. There's the facility there, so it is time to put our rudder over again. So I've also discovered that as you're moving, the shark will definitely be a formidable foe, which is out there yonder. So as we're looking off the port bow here, you see that kind of Eiffel Tower looking thing. That's a beacon, which is, as far as I know, the very first thing that the normal quest line will take you to. So you repair the beacon, that will restore your map system, which means your map right here on your bridge off my right side will, kind of hard to see, but that big panel there off to my right. So it restores everything within your vicinity. So beacon. So that one looks pretty fun. You'll see a lot of YouTubes who were granted access to the early access builds that have gone to that platform. So it looks like it's going to be fun, including stuff that I hate, like jumping, broken stairs and all that sort of thing. So it should be really, really crazy. I will probably have to do that once or twice before I actually record it, because otherwise you will hear a lot of growling and snarling. So it looks like it's going to be fun while coming in there. And right now off the port bow there is a habitat. So a lot of, I want to say, good materials there. I want to stop by there because they have the half, so the couches, like this one here, which you see there in the center, right there on the bridge. There's half ones, so they're like seats, love seats maybe. I don't. Anyway, so I wanna collect a few of those, just because. Why not? So yeah. And I'll probably do the same thing there if I can manage to kill off all the crazy life that is on that particular facility. Then, then I'll loot everything that I can find there, which it's not big at all. It's like 3 levels, which is to say 3 different tiers, and you go through most of it just by wandering through the Connex boxes that are all connected together. So it should be interesting, but there is quite a bit of the blob life there. So it's kind of, those are a little weird. It's the 2 different kind. I think that's the first time you see the other blob. So there's the pink blob and there's the really dark, almost blackish blob. And the pink ones are attracted to light. The black ones are opposed to light, so they will run away from the light. So it's like you have your torch on, for example, and the pink ones will swarm you because that's the light. The black ones, on the other hand, is your light is on and they'll flee from you. So you have to kind of chase them down and do what you're going to do. So quite a bit. Both of the blobs appear to be extremely prolific. So they will replicate themselves rapidly. So it's kind of one of those things you want to make sure you keep them off your vessel if at all possible. So mooring, for example, when they're really, really close, might be a problem. So it's kind of one of those things you got to watch out for. Make sure they don't flow onto your ship. I don't know that they actually do any damage other than they just, they replicate themselves to the point of being a nuisance. So they can obviously damage you, but I have not necessarily seen that they actually damage your vessel or anything like that. So I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they eat things. Maybe they extrude, I don't know, acidic slime. I have no idea what they actually do, whether they do anything more than replicate and harm you. I have no idea. so I haven't seen any evidence that they actually do anything to the structures that they're on. So hopefully not. I don't know. That'd be an interesting discovery, but yeah, I've seen there's definitely on the habitat you've got the pink blobs. There's a fueling depot where they are obnoxiously plentiful. I was watching another YouTuber who was trying to thin them down quite a bit and was making some pretty good progress, but every time she would get a really good progress made, the game would crash. So clearly there are things. So my guess is it's going to be a lot of fun to see where it is with, and of course the game is under constant development, even while it's in demo, even while it's been in the dev release version for those folks that have been out there helping the devs, between getting the word out there and that sort of thing. So one of the other things I noticed here, so I'm all back full now. If you consider that my propeller, which is right now going reverse thrust, so if I put my rudder over to starboard, then I should be pulling the back end of the boat to starboard. But if you look what's happening, it's going the opposite direction. Weird. Or I'm spatially disoriented, one or the other. Could be either one. So the idea is I want to come back in here dockside, really as close to the dock as is reasonably possible. Get the mooring lines across. Once the mooring lines are across and the boat is up against the pier, I'll drop anchor. You cannot close the doors without dropping anchor, so I definitely want to drop the anchor. Anchors probably, I don't know if the back anchor goes. It may not. So if we kind of look at our alignment, see how I did here. So I'm a little bit off. Shifted the right way. So even with no power, it is steerable. So where your boat physics really comes in is that, this ship has a certain amount of mass, this boat. But you're seeing with no power, I'm actually slowing down really quickly. Now when you're backing down, you've got a flat surface, which is the stern of your boat. So it kind of makes sense that you're going to slow down quicker than if you're just cutting through the water forward. So we're actually pretty good here. We're reasonably lined up with the pier. So I'm just going to use the mooring cables to come across. So I'm all back 20% at this point. So that's maritime conning or control terminology. So all means all engines. In this case, I've only got one engine operational intentionally, but you still do all the calls the same. So even if you're only running on one engine, which is my case, and this one in fact only has one propeller, so both the engines somehow combine to put power out that one propeller. So you could still say appropriately all back full or all back 20% or make revolutions for all engines make revolutions for blah. So were I driving a real ship, cruising in it, I'm going backwards at 3 knots, I would be putting on a forward bell. To slow me down. So at this point I'm going so slow that I can get the mooring cables across, so I'm going to jump out of the pilot's chair. I'm going to go down, grab this forward mooring cable, and jump across, get connect, which should pull me in. My engine is at 0. I am not anchored. Oh, whoa. Alright, so at this point I have pulled up against the pier, so you see the ladders touching on the ladders. So both my mooring cables are up taut. So what we'll do is go back up. Because all ship's motion has stopped, our mooring cables are across. The pier is right next to the port, so we will come over here and drop anchors. So we are officially in port. All I have to do is connect shore power, and then we're all good to go. So we'll do that. We'll look here, we've got our shore power connector right there, and go again right there. So for a brief moment, because as you notice, we are all pretty much already at capacity. So the power systems that we have created really do work. So you notice I'm not running full throttle. So it wasn't the perfect demonstration because I'm literally trawling in a big circle around the habitat here. But you can, I did test this, you can actually go to 100% throttle and still maintain. So I was running between 5.8 and 6.0, running at 100%. So controlling it, maneuvering it, everything within the little radius bubble that they want you to stay within was a little challenging. So I bounced off the corner of the bubble a couple times, but just because I was going at speed. You know, when you're going really, really slow, it's pretty easy to turn around and go the other way. Alright, so clearly we are tapping whatever we need for shore power here and maintaining, keeping everything up to where it is. Let's see, do I have anything else? So let's, I guess, we got the blast here, we can get our net raised. We'll do one more recycler, so there was only 7 things there, which is fine. So we'll leave that up because we're moored. Down here, we will turn our recycler on. Deposit all trash. Let it go. For a few minutes. I'm going to go up here and recharge now that we're we have this strange competing because it's connected on both sides. I did see a post on Discord about people mentioning that. Yeah, we have this strange power loop. Alright, let's see where we're at here, and I think we're going to call it quits for this episode here. Okay, we're done. We're done there. shut this down because there's really no need to waste power. We have partial and mostly full, so let's see where we're at here. It's deposit similar. Do the same thing here, deposit similar. All we have is that one, and there's 2.8, which will nicely fit in there and almost fill this up. So I'm not being really organized because I'm not doing any major building at this point, so not really any need to organize. So what I really tried to do was keep these top three as my iron and copper, because those are the ones I'm going to use the most. The next couple are going to really end up being plastic, because you definitely use almost everything you build is going to use a certain amount of plastic. So plastic becomes one of those resources that you just never have enough of. So fun stuff, fun times. All right, so I'm going to go up and save. Actually, let's go ahead and close the doors because.
Use the terminal to manage routes, track inventory, and read or send logs on a single route. Your FS204 is not just transport, it is connectivity.
Really kind of cool.
Treat it with precision, and it will carry you through whatever remains. Confirm readiness of your vessel. FS204 platform runner designed by Warships. This freight is
Those are big doors.
logistics link to your home between platforms.
So from a pure engineering perspective, why are these doors problematic? Because you are lifting or lowering all that weight. Whereas if you are opening doors like a regular house door or car door or something like that, the hinges are holding the weight, which means your movement mechanism only has to move the door open or close, so you're not dealing with the entire weight of the object. These look to me like, huge metal doors. So these suckers are heavy, which means the mechanism to open them and close them has to be pretty substantial. So anyway, engineering for you. All right, we're going to go back down the ship. We're going to do our save, and then I think we're going to call it. Almost an hour anyway, which is convenient. So this worked out. I was thinking I was going to end up with a really short episode, and that is not the case. All right, so I might as well just for grins and giggles. Off here. We don't appear to have any health issues at all. We'll do the backup. Backup. Yes. All done. And I think this is it. So this will be the final episode that I do for the demo. We'll see what happens when it comes out. I think I have demonstrated everything, at least that is available to me within the demo environment. You got to see how the ship works. We did a full ship tour. Ultimately, kind of spread it out a little bit. You got to see some potential mechanisms for how to use the power systems you have available to you on your ship at sea. So that, I think, will serve you well. So I hope that the ideas that you take here from here will serve you well as you do your own journeys. Obviously, there's not a singular way to power your boat. There's not a singular way to play the game. So this is just one person's set of ideas. Stringing power cables through a facility. Obviously there's 100 different ways to do that. This was just a demonstration of my way. I've done it a few different times. Ultimately, it works out about the same. You string power from here to there. So how you do that, where you stop to put an extender in, is really, as long as the end goal is to get power connected onto that battery over there, then you're doing pretty good. But this will give you some good ideas. Discord, of course, has a bunch of alternative ideas. I saw one player who had literally put solar panels up down here, so the bridge was still completely wide open and free. You could see everything. They put 4 panels on each side and then connected them into these power ports here. So awesome job. It was really neat how they did that. Now the downside with putting solar panels on the wall, of course, is that you're only getting sunlight from, you know, a single proverbial hemisphere. So obviously, if the starboard side, for example, and your sun is off to the port, you're not getting any sun on the panels. Now, does that kind of light physics work in the game? I don't know. But, you know, in real life, if you were to have, you know, vertical panels that are mounted on the side of a bulkhead, then you're really having to be concerned with which direction my sunlight is coming in, because you may render them, you know, useless by way of your heading. Now granted, turn a little bit, and now you've got 4 panels that are in the sunlight. You know, so that works. Anyway, I think that is it. We'll end with a shot of all the power generation here on the bow, and we'll sign off. So this is Kenty Tiger. We'll see you later, and we'll catch you on the next one.